Welcome here. I'm glad you can join us for our Hillcrest Kids online church today. I am Pastor Laura and I'm super stoked that you're with me today because today we're starting a brand new series and it is called Blueprints. Now, I have a question for you. How many of you have ever watched a home improvement show? Like one of those renovation shows where they find like a house that's in really bad shape and then they fix it up and it's like, whoa, at the end because it's so beautiful. How many of you like those? How many, maybe your mom really likes those? Yeah, in my house it's me and my family would say I watch way too many of those shows. But I love those shows because I love seeing things like created anew. So in those shows, there's two things that people kind of like the best. So one of the things that people love to watch is the day that is demo day. Yep, that's the day where they come in and they're knocking down walls and they've got the sledgehammer out and they're busting holes in the walls or chopping down the counters in the kitchen, or maybe they're smashing the toilets. Some people love watching demo day because they just love watching the destruction go on. And then other people love the big reveal, you know, where it's like, woo, look at it, it's so pretty, and all the paint colors, and those are nice light fixtures, and the candles are all lit and all that. So those are two main things that you always see in a show like that. But there's one other thing that is always there, but you don't always see it. And it's a super important part of what makes a project like that important. And that is the blueprints. And this is what our series is called, is Blueprints. And a blueprint is the plans that maybe the architecture or the builder, they draw them up. And it actually is like a very detailed plan about what needs to happen in this building project in order to get the end result that we want. So there'll be details about which walls we can knock out, which walls we don't want to knock out. There'll be details about how tall does this thing need to go, and all kinds of measurements and that. And following those blueprints, following those plans is a huge important part of making the plan successful so that we get that big, great reveal in the end. Now, this is also true in our life. We're kind of like this renovation project. There are things in us where we're not always great from the beginning, but God comes along and He starts a renovation project in us. And He has a blueprint for our lives, and He's given us a blueprint for our lives. And I bet most of you can figure out what I'm gonna say is our blueprint for life. Our blueprint for life is God's Word, the Bible. The Bible is something that it tells us about who God is. It tells us about what God is like and what He's done. It tells us about God's plan for our lives and how He wants us to live that out. And it gives us, in lots of different ways, it gives us some specific things that we should do in order to live God's way. And it actually, one of the things we're going to talk about in this series is how it teaches us to deal with our emotions, deal with our feelings. In this series, we're going to work on building our lives on God's Word so that we will know how to deal with what we feel. To start off, I want to introduce you guys to Skip and Susanna. These two like to take on building projects. And sometimes when they take on a project, things get a little bit crazy, and we can learn from Skip and Susanna. So let's check them out.